There are places where nightmares are meant to be contained, walls of stone and steel built to hold the darkness in. The Chester County Prison was one of those places, and Danelo Cavalcante was one of those nightmares, a convicted murderer sentenced to a life of forgetting and being forgotten. But on a late August morning in 2023, while the world outside brewed coffee, the laws of gravity and security were broken. Not with an explosion or a riot, but with a silent, spider-like crawl, he crab-walked his way up a narrow brick canyon in the prison yard, a human phantom defying the walls, meant to be his tomb. He pulled himself onto the roof, and like smoke, he vanished. By the time the first alarm blared, it was already a ghost story. The initial response was textbook, a perimeter, a prediction. He won't last a day. But Cavalcante wasn't playing by their rules. He melted into the sprawling woods, a whisper in the rustling cornfields.
You see,
the
boy?
high-tech searchlights swept over empty ground.
Anything over
while
there?
Trained dogs caught a scent only for it to dissolve at the edge of a creek. With each sunset, he remained free. The legend grew. He wasn't just an escapee. He was the phantom of the Brandywine. And with the legend came the fear. It spread faster than any wildfire, a cold dread that seeped under doorways. The familiar woods now held a monstrous secret. Every rustle of leaves was his footstep, every shadow at dusk his silhouette. Schools closed, and farmers walked their fields with rifles. Chester County had become a cage, and its residents felt just as trapped as the man they hunted. For law enforcement, the hunt became a raw, public humiliation. They'd surround a barn on a tip, only to find it empty, perhaps with a stolen peach left behind as a mocking signature. He was always one step ahead, but a ghost cannot run forever. Desperation is a patient predator, and nearly 2 weeks on the run had whittled him down. Hunger made him reckless. He stepped into the daylight, and a single homeowner's glimpse was all it took to change everything. This time, the net was drawn tight. A DEA aircraft, circling miles above, saw what the human eye could not. A ghostly, white-hot signature huddled beneath a woodpile. The final hunt began in the pre-dawn darkness. As the first hint of grey light broke the horizon, they unleashed the final weapon. It wasn't technology that ended it, but something far more primal. Cavalcante tried to crawl away, but his strength was gone. He was no match for the storm of teeth and fury as the K-9s descended, dragging the phantom back to Earth. Officers swarmed, and the most wanted man in Pennsylvania was pinned to the cold, wet ground. A collective breath was released across Chester County. The nightmare was over. But in the quiet aftermath, the questions remained, echoing in the now silent woods. The escape had cost millions, but its true price was paid in the trust people had in the systems meant to keep them safe. For Danelo Cavalcante, the story ended where it began, bound in chains, a captive of the justice he could wound, but never kill. For Chester County, the memory is now a scar, a permanent reminder of the 2 weeks when fear had a name, and when they learned how terrifyingly thin the line is between safety and the wild. The image that followed was a stark epitaph to the chase, a man caked in mud, shivering in the dawn chill, his face a mask of exhaustion and defeat. The phantom of the woods was suddenly just a man again, small and broken beneath the weight of overwhelming force. His wilderness gone, replaced by the cold click of handcuffs and the impassive gaze of camera lenses. In the towns and farmhouses, the news spread not like a fire, but like the slow, warm light of morning after a long, dark night. Doors were unlocked, and children's laughter began to echo in backyards once more. But the relief was tinged with a new wisdom. Locks were checked with more care. The woods were regarded with more respect. The story became a new piece of local folklore, a cautionary tale whispered to children about the monster who once walked among them. For the institutions, the chapter was far from over. The manhunt gave way to an inquest. In sterile hearing rooms, under the glare of fluorescent lights, the questions were asked again, but this time with consequences. How did a wall fail? Where did a system break? Blame was assigned, protocols rewritten, and promises made that such a breach could never happen again. The ghost was being exercised not by dogs and helicopters, but by paperwork and procedure, a desperate attempt to rebuild the illusion of absolute control. In the end, the tale of the two-week ghost is more than a crime story. It's a fable for our modern age, a reminder that for all our technology, the veneer of society is thin. It showed how one man's desperate feral will could hold civilization at bay, turning a peaceful landscape into a hunting ground and serving as a chilling whisper from the darkness at the edge of town. That the walls we build are only ever as strong as the nightmares they are meant to contain. Thank you for watching until the end of this story. If you enjoyed this narration, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more true crime and survival stories told in this style. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And if you'd like to share your thoughts or suggest the next story we should cover, drop a comment below. Your support helps us bring more stories like this to life.